Hello, welcome back to Alpha Coconut. I am a little tired today, but I thought to me this was very important. And so, very simply, it's I don't know how to make a mod, but if someone does know how to make a mod, I would definitely like it if you would help me do this. But the way I saw it is the Kaiserreich world, as much as I liked the Kaiserreich world, there is a major problem in it. And that was something like the German East Asia would not exist, and there's a few other things that I find that should not be. And so I'll go into it in more detail in a quick second. Actually, while we're waiting for this to load, what I would recommend, join Kaiserreich. This is a way that if you want to play Hoi 4, you can play it with me. And there's another thing, and you can also direct message me on Discord if there's any of the games you would like to see. And I would also like to say that I have plans to play games such as Payday 2, Lobotomy Corporation. I'm not going to ban the Papers, Please game. I definitely do want to keep playing that game. And yeah. So, to me, in my personal opinion, this is a better World War One map. This is a better World War One map, and I can definitely thank the tool pack mod that helped me get this the way it is now. So, I'll start with the initial changes, which the first changes in Europe, you'll immediately notice Bulgaria. Now, you probably know Bulgaria is smaller because to me, they would have been smaller after World War One. Initially after World War One, Bulgaria would have been saved, but when you had France in its rebellion in 1925, I would not see Bulgaria living, as they would easily have recognized that Germany was not going to do anything. So Bulgaria here can be crushed, was crushed in 1925, and by combined power of the Ottomans, the Greeks, the Serbians, and the Romanians all reclaiming their former land. So there's also there's no papal states, because to me, I don't see any reason why it would ever exist. I would see if they had added the Vatican City, which is somewhere around here. I would definitely have seen that and understood that, but they didn't. Next, there's no Sardinia either. I would assume that in 1925, when the Italians were going through the Civil War, the French Republic would quickly take back Sardinia to ensure that communism doesn't go anywhere close to the Corsican land or close to Africa. I've also returned Malta and Gibraltar to back to the UK. As continuing further, although it is Canada here, I don't know how to make. I could have them go to Maximus, but to me that's slow, and I want to go straight to making England. And so I have Canada controlling them for now. If I could decide it's England, I would. But the thing with England is, England would not have immediately overthrown 1,000 years. The English have seen so much in their past that just ruined them time and time and time and time again. But not once did they think to themselves, we're going to collapse and follow the syndicalism. The United Kingdom is a very strong country. Another thing is, although I'm very mad that Kaiserreich disabled this, but I found a way to override it through a mod, is the United States of America, even with Herbert Hoover re-elected, should not go into civil war. Herbert Hoover's economic policies, although bad, weren't that bad. And there's actually some evidence that he probably could have stopped the Great Depression before FDR did. So I won't see, and even then, even in our Great Depression, when we suffered a neo-communist takeover, we did not get overrun by the communists. We did not follow communism, and that's not just because of FDR. That was because of other people. And the big thing regarding America is that America is not going to destroy. America, even now today, will not destroy 300 years worth of democracy and freedom and their virtues. So that was my problem with them. Although, in order to avoid the American Civil War, it's better if a player plays, because the AI, although I did set them on the path to do it, they might still fall in that Civil War. I believe that's all. Oh, also, and then we go back to Africa. So, with Africa, the first thing I had a problem with was Libya was under Ottoman control. Immediately after World War One, the Ottomans would have definitely been able to expand themselves, but the Ottomans would have been in decline, and they just got finished losing Libya to Italy. So to me, they wouldn't have kept it for long. And as the Ottoman kept declining and declining, I would have seen Egypt was rebelling from the United Kingdom. Egypt would most likely have probably taken Libya. If it wasn't Egypt, it would have been France. So Libya is just not part of the Ottoman Empire. Then again with Saudi Arabia. So the Saudis had killed the Rashidis shortly after World War One, and I don't see any reason to stop that. Yes, the Rashidis were supported by the Germans, but there was no way the Germans would really be able to like fully support a united Arabian population underneath the Saudi house. So I gave the Saudi house almost complete control of what they currently control today and what they kind of controlled at the end of World War One. Oman has also been given back to England, as there's no reason for it to have separated. Again, England to me, 1,000 years can't be broken apart. Um, Also, I guess you can probably hear some history is that almost immediately after World War One, there would most likely have been a war between the Ottomans and the Persians. The Ottomans haven't expanded their lands at all, but there is a simple fact that the Persians would not have expanded either. But I thought that was just a quick little fun thing. Also, the Ottomans had plans to create puppets all across Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, but knowing the Germans and how much they relied on an oil supply, they would have kept Azerbaijan and Georgia independent from the Ottomans. But Armenia would have definitely gone back to the Ottomans as a loyal puppet. Alright, and then Portugal with Madagascar, although and also like Djibouti and Berber over there. Normally that goes to the Germans, but I took it away from the Germans, as the Germans again would have no way to supply that far out. To me, the Germans in Africa would already be overstretched as is, and they probably would not have been able to and these small lands right next to Abyssinia and Somalia, both of which who want them, would definitely have been able to take them. And then Portugal, I've had two different things that happened with Garden Massacre. There's three things I saw here. Either the English took it, the Middle Africa took it, or the Germans, or it just sort of became its own independent country. As it can't become its independent country. I think Portugal can release it though. But it can't really become its own independent country from what I've seen. But Madagascar is, I just put under Portuguese control because number one, the Portuguese would have a much easier time supplying it than the English or the Middle Africa. Next up comes South Africa. Again, the English do not collapse. South Africa comes. Then there is the Poland the Baratai Commune. And at first I debated this inside my head as to whether I should keep the Baratai Commune or remove them entirely. But I decided ultimately that the Baratai Commune has no place in existing. And I made it from this simple standard, is that that Gandhi, who tends to like the Baratai Commune, would not have seen the purpose to syndicalism, because to them they're trying. It would be like Vietnam, right? They don't truly embrace what they see as communism. They're just trying to get rid of the colonizers. And to me, the Princely Federation already does a very good job of trying to do that. So what I've done is I've just kept the Baratai Commune under India. Plus, the leaders of the communists would probably have been able to see more with the Princely Federation of India. But for now, it's under India. I might expand it out to the Princely Federation controlling like lands over here probably. But and so what happened here is after World War One and the Treaty of 1919, the Treaty of Berlin in 1919, which signed a peace with honor between Germany and Canada, ceding that the English colonies here were to be ceded to Middle Africa and including these colonies, but this colony broke away and Germany was incapable of beating that down. Same with this was also to be ceded, but again broke away, couldn't get it. and almost immediately afterwards, there was a revolution in India under the Princely Federation, with many princes of India seeing a weakened British Empire and trying to cut it down. And so the British came with the expectancy to smash down the Princely Federation, but they were stuck in a stalemate with trenches the whole way down, and it was considered to be the Second British World War II. And so now the British, and so now it sort of comes to later on as to what shall happen. Shall the British rise up and beat down the Princely Federation, or shall the Princely Federation prove its worth as no longer requiring British control? There's also Burma. I can see how that might have split apart between Siam and India. And then comes the German East Indies, German East Asia. To me, there was no possible way the Germans would have been able to retain control over that. So what I've done is the Japanese have complete control over the German East Asian colonies. And initially, when the Japanese first took it, they attempted a war against the Dutch East Indies and the British, and against the Germans, and the Germans never really participated in the war because they couldn't, but the British and the Dutch East Indies did. And the Dutch East Indies saw difficult trade fighting along here, and so over the years they built a line of fortifications as well as major fortifications along every port in order to ensure that the Japanese can't attack again. Australia was able to hold its ground against the Japanese, but with the mountains here blocking them off, they didn't see a point to building fortifications, versus the Dutch who did. So, and then there's the AOG. I would like to keep it as like as the Republic of China. And so what I have is a Chinese civil war that has been raging on since like the 1920s and so on, with the Puyi proclaiming the return of the Qing Empire, radicals in the West doing what they do, warlord named Long Yun, and then as well as the Republic of China, but it has to be the AOG for now. I would prefer it if it wasn't that. And so the thing with the China is, to me, Germany would not have been able to intervene in that, especially if they don't have East Asia, which again Germans have at the time of World War I. They did not have a navy and could not keep control of German East Asia against the Japanese who were building a navy. So to me, that's what that sort of is what happened. And there's also Transmere. I feel as though when I've seen Transmere exist, I always felt as though it was too small, controlling these two states. And so to me, I feel as though Transmere, like Alexander Kolchak, would have taken advantage of a Russian civil war and move in and take more lands. And the Japanese would, of course, try to limit Transmere's expansion. So they realized very well who is in charge, Japan. But back to the Chinese Civil War is so you'll notice the AOG and the Yunnan Creek aren't at war, and that's because they're on the defensive. Whereas Qing and Xiangqing, Tianguo are on the offensive, attacking the Yunnan Creek and the AOG. The again, radicals are intent on taking over. Qing are intent on restoring their empire, and these two are just intent on letting live and let live. Next up comes Ma Clique. Now regarding Ma Clique, to me, it just he came to power, as you see, in 1921. See, and to him, it doesn't make sense why Mongolia Mongolia will spend its time in 1936 in a long, brutal war with Ma Clique. And to me, that makes no sense as to why are they still fighting Ma Clique after all this time. Like why are they still holding these claims? What are they building up for? Have Mongolia under control, they would have attacked them and taken them over. And so with this time, they now have an expanded Mongolia. And in 1935, they attacked Tibet, but initially they met failures. And so now in 1936, there's a second offensive being mounted up, which if you're a player, you'll have to use your time against them. If you're the AI, it's going to be a long-ass stalemate right along here. Also regarding Argentina, I don't know how to get rid of the demilitarized zone, but I do know this. There's with the Monroe Doctrine under the Americans, there is no possible way the Argentinians would have a syndicalist side. I would also change the Chile ideology, but it's not possible with the tool pack. If I could find a way to do that, I'd definitely do that. But knowing America, they were not allowed communism anywhere inside. I would also like the same thing with Nicaragua, but I think the best way would probably be to just puppet them and then release them as a puppet. So I think I'll probably just do that. And then regarding Russia, so Germany, after losing World War One, would not want to get into another conflict. Meaning, to me, Germany does not intervene in the Russian Civil War. Does not intervene um, into the Chinese civil wars. They don't intervene in every single thing they see, even with the newfound power. Because a big part of this is because we don't, because if you remember the German state, if anyone has studied the German state of their army in 1918, it wasn't men and how the Germans in this world have walked into Paris. I saw it as it's not men in the 20s and the 30s, men who were naturally conscripted back in 1914 who were marching to Paris. It's boys. Boys who are 15, boys who are 14, boys who are 12, boys who are 16. What they were having during World War Ones, during the end of World War One. That's what they had. And it was these kids that walked into Paris and rose the flag over the Eiffel Tower. It was these kids who drove the Sturmpanzers. So the German populace will not want to see the Germans get caught up into the Russian Civil War, but the Germans would supply the White Army with equipment. And also, like Lithuania, the Ukraine, Lithuania, United Baltic Duchy, they all have a purpose to intervening in that civil war and stopping these Soviets from winning. And so that's why we still have Alexander Kerensky. However, I'd have the AI naturally go to form the Soviet Union, because to me that makes more sense to me, as I feel as though the Soviets, with the wake of Black Monday, the Soviets probably most likely listen up again. But I mean, if you want to play Russia and choose a different thing, all means go for it. But that is how I see Kaiserreich could be better, and the name I've given it is Reich der Kaiserwelt, or Empire of the Kaiser's World. So, comment if you think there's changes that should be made, or just direct message me on Discord if you want the save file. Try to see if I can find a way to get down to a Google Drive, and people can download it for themselves. But have a good day. I just wanted to put this out. And goodbye.